next to your mother, and she called me Joe. And a glass of wine hovered inches from her nose. As my laughter followed, I suppose I mistook her mistake for a joke. You were strong. I watched you remind your mom. Said, Mother, you know he's at rest. I charted constellations along her clothes, the dignity of nations frayed in their pose. A tugboat on the water in darkness tows, a vessel decayed underneath its own load. Ooh, you were strong. I watched you bathe your mom, and I washed the wine from her dress. Before I ever met her, I read the book she wrote, a tome on organisms studied in a microscope. All subtlety unveiled, you smile and call, and you squeeze her palm and help her into her coat. You were strong. I watched you bury your mom, and in my life I've been blessed to know you both at your best. And on a April morning, to shake the memory, we flipped through channels and landed on deep blue sea. And we mistook it, her favorite from 1955. And right before sharks arrived, for the first time, 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 I watched you cry. Kiting out on the beach, lichen on the rocks and garlands of weed and reef. They wrap around his socks and gently floss his teeth. They stitch and cross the wash of surgery, then Shane yell while Chris screamed, "That thing's after me!" Then Jen touched the body and said, "Everybody makes it barely, nobody makes it plain, and anyone who makes it fair can be redeemed, and crust can all be carried, most of them can't be seen, And in the frame, callous and hurt, everyone takes some blame. But nobody learns then Shaggy is the coast of Maine. You took off your shirt and you told me to refrain from making sure that the help was earned. And how the death occurred. And when I saw was when I turned and I said, what do you expect a fairy to carry you across the stream where everything you've ever lost is there waiting? And some capricious father doesn't care where you've been, even though he casts you out for eternity for stealing fruit from a pear tree. First relax your jaw, feel your teeth settle, the muscles soft and raw. And when you're dead, all red in tooth and claw, you'll pay your debt, you'll be fed into the maw of a baby bird or a grazing cow. You're turned under a plow as it tells the earth for the harrow now to break your body down for shame set on the salted earth and ask them what the life was worth of the body now out on this earth. Well, Jim called out from the rocky earth that the universe fundamentally is a knowable place, and there's some good and there's some evil, but that there's mostly empty space. There's light in the distance, like a bead or a jewel that glints in the glow. It's red and it's dim, and it's drawing us in on down below. When we were alone, you opened the wound in your side. You asked what I saw in you when I shed a light. You cut your finger cleaning glass out of the sink, and left behind drops of blood to swirl in the drink. And I used to think blood bound without even trying. You told me blood binds us to mud and keeps a disguise. And I can't discern meaningless truth from meaningful lies. Then by July, you found a path through the sky. The crimson past twilight. To trumpets of light in my blood, it tasted me. Well, I was terrified of you. You were so determined. You were trembling with life and soul. The two of us, we saw the light, two paths and a pool of blood, stuck in the dark, while watching as I wait inside. I had a dream last night. There were 3 polar bears at the old schoolyard, mangy, wild, and starved. Then by the other gate, before the vast ravine, there were 2 strangers there. One of them ran away, and the polar bears gave chase. I had a dream last night. We were on a mountain in an old shed. I was on my knees. Your hands are on my page, and right there, your father came in with us down 9 and we parked by this ravine. There were groups of strangers in an abandoned house. They were gazing out. They were gazing out. We took off our shoes in the tall grass and mud. And we turned to look along the tall grass and mud. The tall grass and mud. Then she said, see how the trees go dancing like the rapture came just for the pines. And all manner of beasts in the past. Yes, go and with the word in the light. See how the trees go dancing like the rapture came and I was a vulture. It's time to gather up your bones and do the dishes. Collect your flesh and wash your hands. Death sets in for you, and you are so uninspired. So I'm gonna fill my beak with sand and burn my tongue with the hard wind howling and the desert sun. Disgrace my feathers, and I pray it burns me away, alters my shape and gives me a name, give me a name, and I can try again, I will try again, Lord, come on. Maybe education will protect you. It'll guide you in the end. And I will start a novel, and I will eat again. It's all the same, nothing's gonna change, nothing's gonna change. You'll change your name, it's all the same, it's all the same. You're gonna die one day, and I will eat again, and maybe I'll eat your fucking brains. It's all the same, nothing's gonna change, nothing's gonna change, nothing's gonna change. Oh, darling, I don't know you the way that I used to. It's only kind of funny that it feels alright. Pink white sand at Dixieland band. You let go of my hand without me. Now where have I been, darling? I've been disappearing, just fading in between the spaces where we used to be. Between the pork dumpling and the porcelain plate and the Catholic schoolyard and the iron gate and the apple orchard and the seaside cottage and the moon and the night and those pink lights and can be frustrating sometimes, but heaven knows that's why you're on my mind. Magnetic stripes don't work when I swipe, and sliding doors don't part, and my car won't start. I lost all this weight, doesn't matter what I eat. When I sign my name, the ink just runs right off the page, and that specter from the past has come back to me at last, in the shape of a hole right in the middle of my goddamn mind. So even as a wraith, I've been banished from place, just a sentient vaporizing up through the ribcage from your heart. In the vacuum where I was, it's already been filled with blood. You gotta hold on, you gotta hold on, you gotta hold on to your breath if you wanna keep what's left. Been sleeping more than ever, but I'm still